All right. Good afternoon. We're here to talk about the two 5-month-old children that were abducted earlier this morning, late last night. First, I want to make a plea. Nyla Jackson, I plead to you. Please return Kassan Thomas. We thank you for returning Kyair. You've already shown us you can do the right thing. You can return him to any safe location, fire department, hospital, shopping center, any public place where someone will find the baby. We're begging you to please return Kassan. We can even pick him up. Just call us and tell us where you are and where Kassan is. No questions asked. Here's the number, 614-645-4701. Bringing him home safe is our #1 priority. To the family, the Columbus Division of Police is doing everything we can to find Kassan. There have been over 60 officers on this case since it first came in last night. There are officers that work third shift that did not want to go home until these babies were found. The main detective on this case is still working this case. We're following every lead and tracking down every moment from the time these babies went missing. There was a lapse of communication from an executive level. That is being addressed internally, and that is something that we're going to make sure does not occur again. However, I do want to provide a timeline in regards to the work that we have done right now as we speak to locate Kassan and to locate the suspect. After I give you this timeline, I'm going to then turn it over to the team for additional information and questions. At 9:45 p.m. yesterday, December 19th, a call came in at the Donato's Pizza at 920 North High Street on the report of a stolen vehicle with twin 5-month babies in the car. The mom was at Donato's to retrieve food for a DoorDash order. Officers arrived in minutes and was on the scene at 9:52 p.m. Once on scene, employees of the Donato stated a homeless female, Nyla Jackson, was in the restaurant and left when the victim walked in. Through investigative work, the suspect was positively identified by employees. At 10:17 p.m., a grid pattern search of over 50 officers was started in that area. The CPD chapter also responded. Approximately 10:30 p.m., all other police departments were notified. Ohio State Patrol, Ohio State, Grandview, Upper Arlington joined in on the search. At approximately 11 p.m., these other departments started going to all known former addresses of Nyla Jackson. 3 other known homeless camps were also checked at this time. At 11:45 p.m., Sergeant Fishburne notified OSP, Ohio State Patrol, requesting an Amber Alert. At 12:05 p.m., Deputy Chief Weir again notifies Ohio State Patrol about requesting an Amber Alert. At 12:30 a.m., additional detectives and supervisors are called in from home to help with the search. At 1:37 a.m., the Amber Alert was issued. At 4:15 a.m., we received a call that a child has been abandoned near the Dayton International Airport. That child was, in fact, Kyair. At 5:47 a.m., media was updated that Kyair was found safe. At 6 a.m., Sergeant Fishburne and Detective Martin, they leave for Dayton to continue the investigation. At 11:15 a.m., we received word from Huber Heights Police that they possibly have video of our suspect. Right now, the search continues. Based on this video we have now, we have additional information to be able to proceed forward in this case. I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Chief Weir so he can give you some additional information.
Thank you, Chief. So as Chief Bryant said, we had officers responded to the area, patrol officers. They had a couple obstacles to overcome right away. One of which was that the vehicle did not have a license plate, and that the victim, in this case, the mom, had just purchased the car from a buy here, pay here, which it kind of muddied the waters in terms of us identifying the specific vehicle that was taken. So our officers had to work through that. They were able to do a lot of work and get that done, and then we're able to notify detectives. Like Chief Bryant said, they started a grid search. Officers throughout the whole city checked over a dozen addresses throughout the city that had prior connections to Miss Jackson, whether we had documented that she'd filed a report there, whether she'd lived there previously. So officers throughout the city were assigned to this incident and had ownership of and were vested in trying to locate these children. So detectives, when they responded to the scene, they contacted the Highway Patrol about the Amber Alert. We finally got that issued, and that went out statewide. And like I said, the helicopter's been involved, neighboring agencies have been involved. Obviously, once the Dayton connection was established, that Western and Southwestern Ohio has been very active, and we've been very supportive in helping us out and trying to locate these children. We were able to locate and identify several connections that Ms. Jackson had in the Dayton community. The people over there have been very supportive and very cooperative with our investigation, and Dayton PD and the departments around Dayton have been extremely helpful with us. So we are extremely appreciative of that, and we are continuing to look upon that collaboration and support as we continue to look for these children.
Where is Ms. Jackson from? Is she a Columbus woman or a Dayton woman?
She is from Columbus.
And is she a known person to the police department here, criminal history?
She does have a criminal history through us, I believe misdemeanor offenses, but she has had several arrests through Columbus Police.
You mentioned that the 911 call came in at 9:45, but the Amber Alert wasn't issued till, I think you said 11:45, is that right?
That is correct.
So can you...
Yeah, we contacted the Highway Patrol about the Amber Alert at 11:45.
So can you explain what the lag was and why you couldn't put an Amber Alert out even without a license plate? Is that a protocol or is that a judgment call?
So there was some back and forth, I think, with us talking to the state about what the requirements were for the Amber Alert. And obviously it's a unique circumstance when there's no license plate. And in addition, we were trying to verify the VIN number of the vehicle. So there were some obstacles that we had to go through with that. But at the end of the day, we obviously pushed forward that our position was that we needed the Amber Alert, and it was necessary in this case. And the Highway Patrol, put it out.
When I spoke to the grandmother, she said she told me she was furious that Amber Alerts were not put out earlier despite their plea, and she said that that gave the suspect that much more time to leave the city without anybody knowing. How do you respond to the family's concerns about that?
I would say that I understand her concerns, and obviously I think that in a perfect world we would love to have had it out a little bit earlier, but that our officers did the best they could dealing with the chaotic scene and going through the steps that they needed to go through. And obviously our investigators considered it the top priority to get the Amber Alert out, and we're very adamant that needed to be the next step in the investigation, and we were able to make it happen.
Nala Jackson has previously been arrested for child endangerment with intent to cause harm. Is this child in danger?
Yes. I mean, at this, in all fairness, yes, we consider this child to be in danger. That's why we are expending the resources we are, and we are asking for the community's help. And this is a cry for help. We are asking for the community to come forward and help us locate this child.
Did she know those kids previously, or was this just...
We don't have any indication that that's a fact in this case. At this point, we are dealing with the fact that she had no knowledge of who the mom was or the kids.
Chief, you mentioned there was a lapse in executive leadership. Does that pertain to the delay in putting the Amber Alert out?
No. The work was absolutely being done by the Columbus Division of Police. The communication lapse is in regards to the executive team and our notification. So that's something that we're addressing on our end.
So you weren't aware this was going on?
I was not.
Nala Jackson was a person of interest this morning, but is now a suspect. Can you talk a little about why?
Because there was additional information through investigative work that gave us that ability to make that determination.
Are you able to share what it was?
Right at this time, we're not going to necessarily give you all that information. We want to make sure that we are able to do our investigation and have it preserved and be able to do what we need to do moving forward.
Do you believe
Chief,
this?
that Huber PD might have caught her on video? Do you believe she's in the greater Dayton area at this point, but still has the baby?
We don't know, which is why we're putting the plea out and asking for any information. I'll give that number again. If anyone has any information, anyone, as small as you may think this information is, 614-645-4701. That's 614-645-4701. Our main priority right now is to have Hassan returned home.
You said, Chief, no questions asked, even if she is a suspect, you would be willing to say, drop her off, we'll come to you, we'll take the baby and deal with the aftermath later? Is that sort of what you're implying?
Right now, our concern is to get the baby. We want to make sure that Hassan is safe. That is our number one priority. Clearly, we're concerned about everything, but we want to make sure that we bring that baby home to their
Can
family.
you talk
believe
about the
the
car?
car?
Because, I'm sorry, real quick, the car, because I think did it crash? And then, is that what caused the damage? And we're just trying to, it's confusing to me anyway.
No, my understanding is that damage was there prior to. So that was already, there was already damage to the
You
vehicle.
mentioned
believe
that she
she's still in
was
the car?
on a videotape. Where was it, when, what was she doing, what were those hours?
Did you want to talk briefly about it? I know we get, for the integrity investigation, we're not going to get too deep into the woods. We just know that there was a sighting at this particular location, and so we want to make sure that we're able to follow up and do the things that we need to do to make sure our investigation is complete.
Do you believe she's still driving this car?
We don't know. We don't know any information. If someone has information about even the vehicle, where it may be located, even if it's in an alley or somewhere, we need to know that.
Is
There-
there any reason to believe that Nala Jackson knew the kids were in the back seat, or she just saw a car that was running up?
We don't know, and maybe she didn't. She did give Kyer and put him in a location where we were able to find him. So we're pleading, and we're hoping that she will do the same thing for Hassan.
Is it possible Hassan is somewhere else and nobody's found him yet?
It's possible, which is why we're pleading for anybody to be vigilant, to make sure that you're paying attention. Even if you think it's something that's not a big deal, it could be a baby blanket, a car seat, anything that you may find, please notify us so that we can follow up on that.
Do
When
we know?
Kyer was found, was he checked out by medics? We know this gentleman found him in the economy lot at the Dayton airport. Is he okay? What of?
I don't have any information in regards to that, but I know that he was returned safely, so he was returned, yes.
Does that mean he was reunited with his parents?
I'm pretty sure that if Kyer was found, that his mom and his family is definitely wherever he is at this moment.
Chief, through the connections you've made about Nala Jackson, can you speak to whatever the community would need to know about her state of mind, insofar as that they see this woman that seems like it could be her? I mean, what do you think her state of mind is right now?
We're concerned. She obviously, has two 5-month-olds. So we're concerned, and we want to make sure that we put that out there that, even for her, we're concerned for her. Please return the baby. Allow us to, have that communication with you, find out what's going on. But, we don't think that maybe, if she didn't know the babies were in the back of the vehicle, this would be a great time to step forward, bring Hassan home.
Have you talked to her family? Has she reached out to them? Has she talked to any family members or friends?
Not that we're aware of. Again, we've been beating the pavement and trying to find locations where she may be. So at this point, we don't have any communication.
Chief, do you know what Hassan would have been wearing if someone sees him?
Yes, there is a picture. Is that what he was wearing in the picture?
That's not what he was wearing in the picture.
Do you have a description of what he was wearing?
I don't. I can get that for you.
We'll make sure we can. Yeah,
Brown outfit.
they were wearing the same thing, right?
Like a onesie thing?
Yes.
And you mentioned the video that is important. You're not sharing that with us at this point, is that right?
Yes, we're not at this point.
And in the Dayton airport, I would have to imagine there are lots of cameras there. Is there footage of her dropping off Kyer, or
We do have footage.
is that helpful, or would you share that? Or, I mean, it would be helpful for people to see kind of some of that, I suppose, but it's your investigation, I don't know. I ask.
I'm going to defer that to the lead investigative team, so.
We are going through, we do believe that there is, or we have seen video a little bit from the airport. We are trying to locate other cameras that may be closer or have a better angle. Our investigators that went to Dayton were we're able to view that, and obviously we're going to get hard copies and everything like that. So as we move forward, that'll be part of the investigation.
And can I ask real quick, and this may be more for you, Deputy Chief, the idea that she drops off one child but keeps one, that is a very perplexing thing to my mind. From an investigative standpoint, what does that say to you at this moment?
I'm troubled. Sorry. Obviously, I think that's a troubling aspect of this case. In talking to the commander over special victims and our other leadership team, that is a troubling aspect, and it's like, perplexing as to why that would be. And obviously, we can all let our imaginations run wild, but we have to deal with what the facts are, and the facts are we're still looking for one child.
Was there surveillance video from the Donatos that helped you at all? Did you actually see the mother walk in, and then did you see the suspect leave the Donatos from the video cameras?
I did not. Like I said, I know Sergeant Bennett was at the scene.
Sir, the video footage was not able to be accessed at the time, and the angles of the video did not show much from outside of the front of the store.
What is the video from Huber Heights Police? Are we talking about like a flock camera, surveillance video?
It is not a flock camera. It's from a business, and like I said, I think that's our detectives also are looking at that, getting the hard copy, seeing if we can clean the video up and what we can ascertain, what we can learn from that video. I will say this: that video, the video we have from Huber Heights, is from prior to the child being dropped off at the airport. So our last sighting was at approximately 4:30 when that child was dropped off at the airport.
Chief, with all due respect, you talk about the communication breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it when you have a 5-month-old baby missing, who your department says is in danger, why this long before you all are publicly having a press conference about this matter?
Well, I will tell you, again, CPD was doing the work that they needed to do. Unfortunately, and it's something that we're looking at internally, there was a lapse in communication. Had I known, we would have had the press conference last night or early this morning. And that's just the reality. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But that doesn't mean that the team wasn't doing the work. They were working diligently. They were doing all the things. When I did come in and I did get briefed, I was very relieved that those things were being put in place and the work was being done. We just have to do a better job in making sure that that communication is conveyed.
Is Jackson's biological child in her custody?
I don't have that information.
Any indication that Nala Jackson and Kassan Thomas are out of the state of Ohio?
We don't have that information either. We're hopeful that we're able to locate them, but at this point, we don't know.
And Chief, I believe was addressed earlier, but was this communication breakdown at your executive level, is that part of what led to this 4 hours between child reported missing and the Amber Alert being issued?
No. No, there were command staff that were involved, so that was not a breakdown in regards to that. That was more an administrative function between two agencies that were trying to work that out and get the information out. So that was not the breakdown or lapse in communication.
So I feel like there are 1,000 questions. I'll ask one more. The idea, so Columbus to Dayton, I mean, and this again may be for the investigative side, and she's got connections in Dayton, but she's from Columbus. That's still a drive, and why do you think she went to the airport? How did she end up there? We just don't know, I guess.
I apologize. I don't know that, and that that'll be something that our lead detective will be trying to track down over the next 12, 24, 48 hours. The number one priority, like Chief Bryant said, is that we need to find this child and hopefully find this child safe and return him to his parents.
How much urgency is there, considering we've got an incredibly cold snap coming on Friday with negative temperatures? We've got a 5-month-old who, what we know, is in a onesie. We don't know where she is. What is the sense of urgency considering that?
It's tremendous. I think we were all relieved and took, the fact that the Kayer was found, quickly, because even though it's not single digits outside, it was at 4 a.m. It's still cold. And how quickly would a baby, get hypothermia, out in the cold, like in the elements like that. So we are extremely worried, and it is with a tremendous sense of urgency that we're operating at this point.
So again, why did it take 4 hours for an Amber Alert here to be issued?
Yes. So again, and DC, we could probably speak more to this. Initially, the request was asked by a sergeant, correct? And then it was bumped up when the request was not filled to a command staff level, more of an executive level. So at that point, they got involved and were able to get that done. again, that's one of those things that we're going to be looking at. Those one of those things about communication, even with Ohio State Patrol. We're going to be having conversations. But at the end of the day, we were able to issue the Amber Alert. Ideally, we would have loved to have done it 5 minutes after the incident occurred. So those are some of the things that we have to talk about. Thank you.
Just wanted to double check the spelling on the last name because in previous press releases there was one S on Thomas. There are two S's now on Thomas.
Yes,
one
correct.
S.
2 S's.
Okay, thanks.
I know
thank you.
grandmother had told us it's
Grandma
one S,
says
but
one.
Grandma said it's 1S.
on the dad's side, if that matters, I don't know. That gets a family dynamic. That,
Oh, and we have to find out.
Okay, sorry, yeah, I didn't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much.